Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Defenders of the Earth GARAX figure, the ultimate evil robot. That's what he's called. And as I said before with these Defenders of the Earth things, I know very, very little about the characters, but when I'm offered review samples of cool things I know you guys want to see, I will take them and do the review for you guys. I'll mention this even though I probably don't have to. Obviously, I can say whatever I want. I don't have to say nice things, and they never tell me what to say. NECA's really, really good about that. I made it very clear in the beginning. If they want to send me review samples, I'm happy to do it, but I will only do reviews the way I do reviews, and they were okay with that, so that's a cool thing. Anyway, this is a pretty darn cool figure. However, I'm concerned about some accuracy issues, so we're going to talk about that, but otherwise it's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 19 centimeters. That's going to make him pretty close to 7.5 inches. He does have some size to him. 7-inch scale figure. He's about a head taller than Darwin. He's about 1 maybe 2 Darwins. So that's pretty cool. Now, as far as the accuracy goes, we'll talk about that after we do a question of the day. Which one of these characters is your favorite if you're into this stuff? And if you're not into this stuff, which one of these is the most interesting to you? I'm guessing a lot of people are into the Phantom because he was a little bit more popular, or maybe this guy because he's a cool design, or who knows? Who knows? This guy was a really cool figure. Hard to say. For me, this guy's pretty darn cool. Now, let's talk about the accuracy issues. I gotta grab the package again. This is what they show on the package, which is really cool. It's like this prismatic look, and obviously they can't do that in an action figure, and I don't know if he's supposed to look like that or not, but it does look really cool. My only familiarity with this guy is the cartoon, and I saw the cartoon maybe once as a kid, and I looked it up before the review. It doesn't quite match the cartoon. It is similar. I do think the cartoon is a better look, but this is a much more involved design, so I don't know about the accuracy. You guys can let me know. I do think it is just an artistic interpretation, just like it was for Lothar, or, well, I guess the Magician guy's pretty much the same, but Lothar was a little bit different too, so you guys can let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. But regardless, it is really cool, and they did do a really, really good job. It's not absolutely perfect, but the paint job on this guy is pretty impressive. If you look up close, it is pretty darn clean. Like, there's a few spots, like right here on the leg, there's a little bit of whiteness going on this lighter blue. Same thing on this side. But overall, it's like really good color paneling, color blocking. It looks really good. The face is painted well. The sculpt is nice. Like, obviously it's all faceted all over the place, like a diamond sort of. And then the face is flat mostly with the details sculpted in. Yeah, it looks pretty darn cool. And I guess there's another version coming out, or it already came out, where it's a different design, but mostly the same, and it's got like Ming's face in there. I don't know what's going on with that, but this one's just solid blue, which I guess is the way it was in the cartoon. So either way, very, very cool looking figure, good proportion, good shelf presence. That's going to look nice on a shelf. Even if you don't know anything about Defenders, if you like cool, unique designs and cool paint jobs, this is possibly one for you. So aesthetically speaking, not counting accuracy, I'm going to go 9 out of 10. It looks damn good. If you want to count accuracy as a problem, which again I'm not too sure about, you can knock it down to an 8, but it still looks really, really cool. And it clearly is meant to be an artistic interpretation if I'm right about the accuracy, which means, can you really fault it for it? It's not like it's missing a detail, it's just a whole new take, so that's a little debatable. All right, let's talk about accessories. He does have the 2 open hands that come on him in the package. He gets 1 fist hand, 2 very specific gripping hands that come with this little piece of blue plastic. That is for him to pick up this little character that comes with one of the other figures. I guess you can snap that onto the guy and then he can pick it up like by the scruff of its neck. I guess that's what's going on there. I don't have the other figure, so I don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like in some of the promo images. And it does mention it somewhere, I think on Big Bad Toy Store. And then we do get the trigger finger hand, so that's a pretty good spread of accessories. I think I'd like another fist hand, but not a big deal. You do get his regular pistol, which can go in the trigger finger hand. That's a pretty cool metallic blue. You get a blast effect for the pistol. I like that a whole bunch. And then you get this kind of like Apocalypse style arm cannon that just slides over his fist, and that comes with a blast effect. That's cool. The one problem is, and I'll show you guys this part in person, the one problem is this blaster is supposed to key in here, and you can see it has like the perfect cutout. Let me zoom in a little bit. Perfect cutouts for the blaster to just go like that. Except it doesn't really fit. Even with the ring cut out in the back there and that, you kind of try to key it in, it just doesn't really fit properly, and I can't get it to stay in. Like, it's wedged in, but it's not really connected in any way. So that's a bit of a bummer, but it does look cool and you can probably make that work. So not the worst thing in the world, but accessory wise, that's pretty good. I'll go 8 out of 10. I don't like that the gun doesn't fit properly and we could use another fist hand, but still 2 blast effects and some hands. I'll take it. Now, as far as articulation goes, you're probably thinking, well, he's basically just a naked human with some facets. It's probably pretty good. And it is in some places. And then in other places, it's pretty bad. Which is unfortunate because I know NECA leans into the aesthetic and sacrifices articulation. However, on this figure, they didn't really need to sacrifice the articulation for the aesthetic because it wouldn't have helped any. I do want to note, this paint job is really, it's so opaque. You don't normally see that. Even the light blues look really good in this big flat spot. It's so smooth. The paint job is really good. Okay, so articulation. Couple of ball pegs in the head. Feels like a double, could be a single, but either way, he can lean side to side, rotate, lean forward and back pretty well. That head works nicely. I have no complaints there, especially with the big round head shape. For the shoulders, it's your standard ball hinge. You're going to get your full rotation, but the shoulders are set pretty deep in there, and even with some force, you're only going to get about that high, so you could definitely use a little bit better range. That's not bad, but there's really no reason it can't go farther up. I think they just needed to pop the shoulder out like a millimeter, just a little bit to give it a little bit of extra clearance, and that would have helped both the rotation and the hinge. You do get a bicep swivel that works no problem. Double jointed elbow, full range, no issues there. I want to note everything I've tested so far in the articulation, no problem at all. This figure is very good in terms of QC. There's some stiffness here and there, but nothing that was stuck or problematic. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. The trigger finger hand has the horizontal hinge that is unfortunate. Now, we do have a problem with the diaphragm joint, the ab crunch. He can lean forward a little bit. Not a lot. That's probably good enough, but it's not good. And then it can lean back a little bit. And again, that's probably good enough. You don't need to lean back too much farther than that. However, you get this big cavity in the chest, which is definitely not necessary. The way they've done this, it creates a giant cavity both times, and you just really don't need that for an ab crunch, so that's unfortunate. Just don't go all the way and you won't notice it, but it is there. You get a waist twist, so that's fine, no issues there. Now here's a problem. He does have a very low diaper. It comes down like some booty shorts almost. So you're guessing it's going to have to flex a lot, and you're right, but when you flex his diaper, I'll show you what happens. Do you see what's going on right there? It's starting to separate that blue and actually the white paint, though you can't see it. So I'm going to say that's as far forward as you can bring his legs safely. Now, what you could do, and I'm not necessarily recommending this is just an idea I've had, I haven't obviously tried it, is if you put a slit in like along this blue, maybe not even that far up, but like right here on both sides, you might be able to bring the legs a little bit farther forward without any problems. But again, do that at your own risk. I haven't tested it. Going back, you can go back a little bit, but any farther than that and you start to stretch the blue again and the paint starts to crack, so that's not good. And the white is painted on this piece, so be careful. Going out to the side, yeah, it's starting to flex already, so that's about the limit right there, going out to the side before it starts to flex and be a problem. So be very careful with this diaper. You could end up with flaking paint if you crack it up enough. So that's kind of a bummer. They are just ball sockets for the hips. You get your thigh swivel in there, so it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think he does a whole lot of martial arts, but you should have better range out of that because there's no reason for that diaper to be quite that low and to not have any splits in it. Double jointed knee goes pretty far. Like, you have really good range, and if I finagled which joint I moved first, you'd have even farther. So let's do that. Yeah, he's got really good range. Proportioning is a little bit questionable for the legs just because the lower legs are so long, but he is a robot, and I think that's okay in this case. For the ankles, they go pretty far back and not that far forward, but probably far enough. You get a decent ankle rocker, though it's pretty steep. And then you get a toe hinge, which is pretty far back on the foot. It looks a little bit weird, but it is nice and stiff, so if you really wanted to use it, you could. So, not the best articulation in the world, definitely could be better, but I think for the character, it's probably good enough. I think he looks pretty good paint-wise, pretty good sculpt-wise, and you'll be able to pose him, it'll be okay. So I'm going to rate the articulation at only, I'll give the articulation a 6. It's not that good. It could be a lot better, but I think the aesthetic and the accessories more than make up for it, so I'm going to give him an overall rating of I'm only gonna do 8. I was gonna do 9 because it looks so cool, but there's really no reason the articulation is as limited as it is on a figure like this. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with 8. It's still a really, really strong release, and it looks awesome. And even though I have no connection to the character at all, I really like this one. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.